let's talk about the brand new Vendure CLI. The CLI is a command line interface tool which is going to turbocharge your productivity as a Vendure developer. You might already think that Vendure is pretty fast to develop for, and it's true, but things can get much faster. And that's what I want to show you in this video. So the way I'm going to show you is not by explaining, I'm going to demonstrate before and after. So here's the setup. I've just installed a brand new fresh install of Vendure version 2.2. You can see here the package JSON. One thing you'll notice that is new is that a standard Vendure installation will now come with the CLI installed as a dev dependency. And you can see right here, if I run npx Vendure from inside this directory, I see this fancy new CLI help screen. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this brand new clean install and we're going to customize it. We're going to create a CMS plugin. We have to create a new article entity to store the CMS articles. There could be blog posts, info pages, whatever. This is a very simple approach. So we're just going to have a title, a content string, and a Boolean flag for whether or not the article is published. As well as that entity, we also want to have a service which can handle the create, read, update, delete functions. And we also then need to extend the GraphQL API so that this functionality is available for admins to actually use. So the way I'm going to run this video is, first of all, I'm going to build this plugin manually, the way that you do it now. And after that, I'm going to do it with the CLI and we'll see the difference. While I build this, I'm going to time it. I have a little timer app right here. I'll start the stopwatch and I'll go through it. Now you've got to bear in mind, I'm the creator of Vendure. I know it pretty well and I'm quite fast when it comes to developing. I'm also going to make liberal use of the docs and I'm going to copy paste things and I'm going to try and basically do it as fast as I can. Obviously, I'm going to speed this up for your benefit because you might not want to watch me do this in real time. Here we go. Let's start the stopwatch. Let's do this. So we have the entity set up. Let's see where we're at. 3 minutes, not bad. So we've got the article entity. We've registered it with the plugin. We are registering the plugin in our Vendure config. Next, let's create a service. I think we've got that set up now. Right, so quick peek at the time, 10 minutes 55. Okay, now we need to handle the API. And we are standing at 20 minutes. So 20 minutes for all of that. I mean, you just saw me do literally the whole thing with a little help from Copilot, admittedly. But 20 minutes is pretty fast. But to be perfectly honest with you, I've practiced this a little bit when I was putting together ideas for the video. I have notes over here on my second screen. I better not speak too soon because we should test it, shouldn't we? That's what we'll do next. We'll just make sure our plugin actually works. First thing we've got to do is we've got to do a migration. This is a perfect opportunity to introduce you to the fact that our new CLI tool includes the migrate command. If you're upgrading from a previous version of Vendure, we previously shipped a migrate script that lived in the root of your project, but now this is completely handled internally by the CLI tool. So you will no longer see in the standard project, there is no migrate script anymore. That's not necessary. And likewise, in the package.json script, there's no need for a migrate script because this is handled by our CLI. So I will say npx vendure migrate. And it says, what would you like to do? Generate migration, run pending migrations, or revert. So of course we want to generate a migration, enter a meaningful name. So article. Okay, it's generated the migration now, which we can see right here. So let's run it. Okay, it booted up, that's good. Let's check this out then. I've got the query ready already, article list, content. I'm not authorized. Okay, fair enough. We did put the super admin permission on there. So let's log in as the super admin. Okay, and let's try that again. Property channels was not found in article. Okay. So we've made a mistake. So, I mean, I stopped the timer at about 20 minutes. Maybe I should carry on going until we actually have a working plugin, right? That would be more fair. What are we doing wrong here?
A few moments later.
Yeah, we probably don't want to pass the channel ID here because it's not channel aware. Okay, let's restart. Good, so we don't get an error there, and good. So the question is, can we create one? Let's try. So we'll duplicate that. Okay, it looks like it got created. I should be able to see it in my list now. Good, and I should be able to fetch it. Good. Okay, let's look at the time now, because now we've really got it working. All right, 25 minutes. Pretty good. So then we get rid of everything, and we're back to like a completely blank slate. And I'll reset the timer now. And let's do exactly the same thing, but this time using the new Vendure CLI. I'll start the timer, and we'll hop over to the command line. And we'll say npx vendure add. And we see a menu of the different things that we can add. We want to create a new plugin. So let's select that. What is the name of the plugin? We call it CMS. The location. Yep, that looks good. And it's generating the scaffold now. Okay, it's updating the vendor config. And it's done. Okay. Now, before I move on to the next step, let's just go and take a look at what happened there. So we see that we've got the CMS directory created, CMS plugin. Let's go and have a look at what was created. Now, again, fairly typical plugin, but this time I want you to notice something. There's a bit more to it. So with all of these CLI commands, we're baking in the best practices that we've evolved over the past several years of building applications. So for example, this pattern with a static init method for configuring the plugin is baked in, injecting the plugin options, the options interface right here. We have constants for the logger context for the options symbol itself. Not only have we scaffolded this, we've also gone into your Vendure config and we've added it for you to your plugins array. And that's the very special thing about this CLI. It's not just a template engine that can kind of interpolate some variables into a template and like create files. No, this does a sophisticated, deep analysis of your Vendure project at the source code level. In fact, at the level of the TypeScript abstract syntax tree. It knows every variable, every function, every class. It knows how they relate to one another, and it can perform very sophisticated refactors automatically. And that's exactly what we're doing here by adding this. Back over to the CLI, it says, do you want to add features to the CMS? I want to add an entity. What is the name of the entity? Let's call it article. What features do we want? We can have it with custom fields. That's a new feature with Vendure 2.2.0. Your own custom entities can also have custom fields. Let's do it. It's creating the entity for us now. Okay, let's have a look. And here's our entity. If we go over to the plugin now, we'll see our code has been refactored automatically. It's created this new entities property and populated with the new entity. So the thing that we do have to do manually is add the actual fields that we care about. So we set title. So we've got the entity now all set up. So what else can we do? Let's add a service. What type of service? A basic empty service or a CRUD service on an entity? That's what we want. And now it asks which entity do we want to do the CRUD on, and Again, it's smart enough to analyze our code base and find the entities for us. So we can just select the article entity and it's going to create the service right away. Okay, article service created. Let's go and have a look. Services, article service. Look, it's even created these types for us, but with a little note that you can replace these with CodeGen. Extremely full featured, like all of the features, all of the patterns that we developed in the core of Vendure itself are baked into this CLI. And finally, we need to add GraphQL APIs, right? So let's select that. The resolver needs to be backed by a service, and we've got one service that we just created, so let's select that. So it's going to generate the resolver file for us and the schema definitions. Okay, and at this point, I'm done. Let's go and have a look at the API stuff. Here's the resolver. So all of these decorators that you need to remember, they're all there. Everything's wired up correctly. It's correctly injected the article service that we created. And if we go over to our plugin, it's set up the admin API extensions for us, injecting the correct resolver, the schema. So everything's wired up. Let's check the time. 6 minutes, okay. And that was with me explaining the steps in between. If I would have done it as fast as I could, this could have probably been about 1 minute, 2 minutes max. So let's now npm run dev, that our resolver is still resolving the data that we created earlier. Let's create a new article. Now my second article, create that. And there we go, a working plugin in a few minutes. So there you have it. The Vendure CLI tool is out now. Go download it, add it to your projects, and enjoy massively increased productivity when you're building your custom e-commerce applications on Vendure.